Hi, welcome to the Industry Astrology Full Moon Forecast for October of 2024. The moon has been waxing, the energy increasing, getting brighter. How are you feeling? The moon is waxing, and on October 17th at 4:26 a.m. Pacific time, the moon will reach the end of the Purnima Tithi and then begin to wane again. Energized, maybe overly so, burned out, or feeling just chaotic, on edge. Full moons are always times of increased energy, which can create problems like insomnia or even anxiety, chaotic kind of experiences as well. But this full moon has a particularly special edginess to it. It's right at the doorway of a whole new cycle in the zodiac. And also, we've been experiencing the eclipse energy. This moon is actually almost eclipsed. And within this eclipse season, we've been experiencing the solar flares, all the electromagnetic activity, which has an influence on the nervous system. And then there has been a comet that just appeared, which I thought was really interesting around this time. Comets often, I feel, signify some kind of destiny pattern coming forward, something important. They're connected to Ketu. So there's a lot going on right now, and we are at the cusp as well of the US political elections. I decided to do a little brief analysis of the charts of the candidates and the day of the election and so forth. But before we go into that, I want to mention that this full moon is quite auspicious. It is the Sharad Purnima, which is the day of the Rasa Leela, when Krishna dances with all the gopis all night long, in a night that lasts for an eternity. And it's also said to be a day that Lakshmi showers us with her blessings through the Amrita Baraka. Nectar of the moon rains down in this moonlight. So even though there's an edginess to it, it is still very blessed. So it's a great night to be making moon water, if you put water out to absorb the energy of this moon, or it's traditional to do sweet milks and creams for a few hours in the moon. Also, they tend to absorb the moonlight even more, especially this one, which is sort of a prasad, a blessed moonlight. The full moon is in the area of the sky called Ashwini Nakshatra, one of the stars of healing that has to do with arriving quickly and rescuing. There's a fire, an energy of enthusiasm and a lot of hope in Ashwini. And this full moon actually is just right at the cusp of Ashwini. It's at 0 degrees. It's Aries. It's the first nakshatra and the first degree of all the zodiac. And so there's a crossover. We're kind of in between worlds. It's called Gandanta, where there actually is likelihood of confusion or chaos within this full moon as well. It's kind of like we're on a precipice, and maybe you're at a crossroads, or there's something that is coming through that's completely new. One reason I wanted to look at the political elections is because this full moon is the last one leading up to it, and it happens to be the lunar birthday of Kamala Harris. Okay, so here's Kamala Harris chart. She was born October 20th. That's her solar return. You see she was born on the full moon exactly. Isn't that amazing? A perfect Purnima, almost to the degree. So she was born on this full moon in Ashwini. And she has Rahu, the power of Rahu, very strong in her chart. You see exalted here right on the ascendant. She also is running a Rahu Dasha right now. That's part of her karmic unfoldment. And so she has been growing in power. But that moon, that full moon that she has, really helps her in connecting with the people. Actually, the moon is the public. And also it's creating a special energy here between Mars and Moon, a Parivartana Yoga, which gives her the power of wealth. And actually, she has her name Kamala is a Lakshmi name as well. She has a lot of powerful combinations for creating wealth. So Rahu creates eclipses. Rahu is an influence for people who work in politics because Rahu has to do with power. And in the last year, Rahu has been transiting through her 10th house of career and power itself. Now, Donald Trump, on the other hand, also has an extremely powerful Rahu. And he was actually also born on a full moon, almost perfect, just like her. But it wasn't a normal full moon. He was born on a lunar eclipse, a total lunar eclipse. He has a very special chart, extremely powerful, focused into the 10th house here of government career. Donald Trump is in his Jupiter dasha, since basically he won the election back in 2017. And he has just changed out of Jupiter Ketu into the subdasha of Jupiter Venus, the ruler of that 10th house of career and power. And on election day, Venus is going to be in Jesta, in his birth star, transiting over his natal moon. Here's a chart of sunrise, November 5th, 2024 in Washington, D.C. So you can see Venus is at 28 degrees, 19 seconds of Jesta, which is very close to his natal moon here at 28 degrees, 6 seconds. So there's a alignment there that made me think that there may be somehow a gift from Venus coming for him that will bring a satisfaction, a success, but Venus over the moon can bring it in different ways. So this is a chart called the U.S. Kelleher chart. This is basically the birthday of the United States back in July 4th, 1776, rectified by James Kelleher, that is very accurate, I find. And it's interesting to see how Donald Trump's Jupiter, that Jupiter that's ruling his dasha, sits exactly on the United States natal Saturn in the 10th house of government. He really does have a destiny pattern with the United States. That does not mean that he necessarily is, I'm not predicting that he's necessarily going to win again. He may have already fulfilled this destiny in his previous term, but definitely it's very interesting to see these patterns. Kamala Harris, on the other hand, also has a connection in that her Rahu sits on all of this energy in the 7th house and Ketu on the ascendant. It does seem like she's also obviously intertwined with the United States chart in this time period. The US is actually running a Rahu period as well, just like her. Ever since 2015, it's been going on, and it does create divisiveness and a sort of lawlessness and trouble. And if you look at the outer planet of Pluto here, which I don't normally look at, but it's really fascinating. Pluto takes 247 odd years to get around the zodiac because it's a very, very distant planet with a very slow movement. And it just so happens to be the year that Pluto returns to the United States. The US is now about 200 something years old here. So Pluto by transit is very, very close. And Pluto signifies, it's something transformative. It's bringing about some big change. Here is a chart of the US election day at sunrise, Washington, D.C. Here's the election day. And you can see Pluto there, but also Mars. Mars here, the highest planet in the sky at sunrise, is opposing Pluto just by 1 degree. So when I saw this, it doesn't look like there's going to be a peaceful election here. There is something that could create even some violent reactions, some chaos. So whatever the turnout, whatever the result of the election will be, and it may not be clear, to be honest, these two charts are so kind of like two dragons, two Rahus fighting in the sky. And just perfect storm for the US right now in its Rahu Dasha with all of this energy of transformation on it. Coming back to Kamala's chart, she's in that Rahu Dasha. She's also running a subdasha of Venus, just like Donald Trump. Interesting. Although the Venus transit for her isn't necessarily helping in the alignment, but also she's in a lower bhukti here of moon. Remember, her moon is her strongest planet, full moon, that Sharad Purnima of blessings from Lakshmi, the goddess of prosperity. And I think if she won, she would probably be a blessing on this country. To be honest, with this kind of a chart, I think it would enhance the economic growth. I honestly see how it could go both ways with this. Both of them are running 10th house transits of their Mahadasha Lord. Both of them have strong indications that they could win. It looks like a very, very tight race, which may not be clear. Even on election day, it looks like there's going to be contention and controversy. It may be that Trump is the winner, even if he's the loser. That's part of his power in his chart. So I tried to create this with the least amount of my personal opinions projected onto it. And I do believe that we have a force within us to make a difference. So get out there and vote if you care about these topics. And let's just take a look at what the tarot cards have to say on this full moon of Sharad Purnima. Okay, so the first card that came through is the Four of Cups. Often this card feels stuck, maybe a little bit hopeless, a little bit disempowered. And there's something about not seeing a clear path forward, not seeing your options, perhaps. And then it's next to the Princess of Swords. She is definitely trying to cut out of the trap or find some kind of answer. This is a card that can increase anxiety, vata, worry, make you perhaps second guess yourself too. So this full moon isn't easy. Like I said, it's almost eclipsed. It's right on the Gandanta, which is so neither here nor there. And Rahu's close by, which can create more nervous energy. So yeah, take it easy on yourself and others. And the last card, the universe or the world card. It's interesting that I was just speaking so much about collective karma, collective destiny, when I was looking at those political charts, especially the US chart in relation with the candidates and all. And I feel like this card is sort of a confirmation in that there are things going on above us, perhaps that are out of our control as well, that are making things just happen. Preordained karmic agreements, as we were kind of seeing in those political charts. But on a personal level, there might be something now in your life as well that feels like you want to fight against, although it may feel that there is nothing you can do. Look up. You are part of the greater plan. And although there are things that are beyond our control, on the collective as a whole, you do make a difference. Trust in what you can do. Trust in also allowing for what you can't do. The next chapter that is unfolding in this very first degree of the zodiac. Trust in its perfection. Blessed Sharad Purnima. I do offer one-on-one Vedic astrology readings and tarot readings online. You can book a reading with me. I leave a link below. It's anandastrology.com. I also write. I have a written blog that's on my website, and you can get on my newsletter. It's completely free. Also, be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I will see you soon on the next new moon.